boy, Fever Nation. Whew. What a game yesterday. Atlanta Dream 113, Indiana Fever 96. Same opponent as Thursday, same exact problems, and this time it was worse. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Clarrkin Off Time. I'm MaddyG, and today I am not holding back. This was not a competitive loss. This was a team getting exposed twice in 3 days by the exact same weaknesses, and nothing got fixed in between. We're going to go deep on what went wrong, and yes, we are directly talking about the coaching staff today, because at some point the players stopped being the only explanation. Let's get into it. I need you to sit on how this game actually unfolded, because the start tells a completely different story than the finish. This one was played at State Farm Arena. Atlanta shifted a few games there this season to meet fan demand, and the building was loud from the jump. First quarter, Indiana led 37-30, a 7-point lead. Great. The Fever came out sharp, efficient, in control. Love it. Second quarter, Atlanta started clawing back 26-22. The lead shrinks to 3. Not loving it. Third quarter, and this is where this game was lost. Atlanta outscored Indiana 28-15. 13-point swing in a single quarter. What is happening here? Indiana's 7-point lead was not just gone, it was a double-digit deficit by the time the quarter ended. Fourth quarter, Atlanta closed it out 29-22, pushing what had been a one-possession game into 17-point blowout by the final buzzer. Here's the number that should make every single Fever fan furious and maybe even cry. Indiana shot 59% effective field goal percentage, 63% true shooting. Those are elite win-the-game shooting numbers. A team shooting that well does not lose by 17 points. So once again, just like Thursday, this was not a shooting problem. This was everything else falling apart around good shooting. Here's where MaddyG needs you to pay close attention, because this is the stat that actually decided this game. Indiana committed 19 turnovers yesterday. 19. On Thursday, against the same Atlanta team, Indiana committed 17 turnovers. So between Thursday's loss and yesterday's rematch, with 2 full days to address it, the turnover problem did not get better, it got worse. Atlanta finished with an assist-to-turnover ratio of 3-1. Indiana finished barely over 1-1. That's not a talent gap. Atlanta has talented guards too. That is a discipline and execution gap. And execution gaps are, listen to me, Stephanie White, execution gaps are coachable. Okay, can we say it together? They're coachable. And it wasn't just turnovers giving the ball away clean. Indiana grabbed only 4 offensive rebounds all game compared to Atlanta's 12. Atlanta turned those extra possessions into 22 second chance points, while Indiana managed 13. So between live ball turnovers and getting bullied on the offensive glass, Indiana was simply handing Atlanta, here you go, extra opportunities all afternoon. And Atlanta, they said, let's cash in on this every single time. I'm going to say this plainly. MaddyG is not going to soften it, okay? Not going to sugarcoat it. When the exact same opponent exposes the exact same weakness twice in 3 days, and the second performance is worse than the first, that's on preparation. That is on what got addressed or didn't get addressed. Between the games, the players are the ones turning the ball over, yeah. But it is the coaching staff It's their job to build a game plan and a practice plan that fixes it before the rematch. And that did not happen here. I need to give you one more number before we move on, because this one is almost hard to believe. Atlanta scored 20 fast break points yesterday. Indiana scored two fast break points in the entire game. On Thursday, Atlanta had 17 fast break points to Indiana's 8. So that gap, already bad on Thursday, it got dramatically worse yesterday. Atlanta is now scoring at will in transition against this team. 2 games in a row, and the gap is widening, not closing. Transition defense comes down to 2 things: effort getting back and how a team is positioned defensively after a missed shot or a turnover. Both of those things are a coaching staff drills in practice. These are things they drill in practice. Both of those things that get specifically scouted and prepared for against a known opponent. Atlanta ran wild in transition on Thursday. Atlanta ran even wilder in transition yesterday. And if the game plan between game 1 and 2 of the series did not specifically address transition defense, that's a real problem heading into the rest of the season. Okay, MaddyG is going all the way in on this one because I think Fever Nation deserves the honest version instead of the comfortable one. Now, point 1. Back-to-back games against the same opponent require back-to-back adjustments. That is coaching 101. Indiana got run over in the paint, in transition, and on the turnover battle in Game 1 of this series. All 3 of those exact same problems showed up again in Game 2, and 2 of them, transition defense and turnovers, actually got worse. If a coaching staff cannot adjust a game plan against a team they just played 48 hours earlier, that is a real fair question about preparation. Point 2, and this is something I noticed digging in the box score. Indiana's bench outscored Atlanta's bench yesterday, 34-18. Raven Johnson was efficient off the bench. Monique Billings was perfect from the field. Damaris Dantas got real minutes. Meanwhile, 2 of Indiana's starters, Sophie Cunningham and Kelsey Mitchell, I love them, they shot a combined 35% from the field yesterday. When your bench is outproducing the opposing bench by 17 points and 2 starters are struggling that badly with their shot, that is a rotation decision a coaching staff has to be willing to make in real time. Hey, ride the hot hand, sit the cold one. That is not disrespecting a starter. That is a coaching. It's coaching that wants to win the game that's sitting right in front of you. Point 3, discipline. Indiana picked up 2 technical fouls today, 1 on Mitchell, 1 on Cunningham. That's not Caitlin Clark this time. That is 2 different players losing their composure in the same game. When frustration is spreading across multiple players, instead of staying isolated to one, that is usually a sign that the team feels out of control of the game. And that often traces back to a sideline that is not finding answers fast enough to settle everyone down. So here's MaddyG's actual prescription, not just criticism. Stephanie White needs to show this team and show Fever Nation that she can make a meaningful adjustment between a Thursday loss and a Saturday rematch against the same team. She needs to be more aggressive with her rotations when the numbers are screaming at her, like they were screaming at her yesterday. And she needs to find a way to keep this group composed when adversity hits, because right now, adversity is compounding instead of getting managed. This roster, they have the talent, and that's not in question today. The shooting numbers prove that. What's in question is whether the system around that talent is getting sharper or staying the same while teams figure it out. I don't want to bury the good with the bad, so let's give credit where credit is due. Caitlin Clark, 26 points on 11 of 18 shooting, 61% from the field. That is an elite shooting performance. 7 assists, too. The issue was 7 turnovers on the other side of the ledger. Her turnover percentage was the single highest number on the team yesterday. Elite scoring, elite playmaking attempts, but the ball's security has to tighten up, especially in a game this chaotic. Aliyah Boston, 13 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, a quieter night for her on the scoreboard, just 4 of 10 from the field, but she was still finding teammates and rebounding at a high level, even in a rough team performance. And like I mentioned, the bench was generally a bright spot. Raven Johnson, 9 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Monique Billings, perfect from the field. If there's a silver lining from yesterday's game, it's that the Indiana Fever has a real depth options that earn more trust going forward. Indiana sits at 9-7 now, still third in the East, but Atlanta has now beaten them twice in 3 days and sits at 11-4. The Fever get a much-needed reset against Phoenix, a back-to-back at home Monday, June 22nd, and Wednesday, June 24th. Both at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and 1 a.m. BST for our UK Fever Nation. Phoenix is 5-12 this season, and Indiana is a heavy favorite at 68.9% in both games. This is exactly the kind of stretch where we find out if yesterday's lessons actually get applied. 2 games against a beatable opponent and a real opportunity for this coaching staff to show Fever Nation that today led to real adjustments, not just real frustration. Whew. What can I say, Fever Nation? 2 losses to the same team in 3 days with the exact same problems, showing up both times and most of them getting worse instead of better. That's not a fun thing to sit with as a fan, and it wasn't fun to break down today. But this channel exists to tell you the truth, win or lose, and today's truth is that this coaching staff has real questions to answer heading into Monday. Drop a comment and tell me straight, do you think Stephanie White makes the right adjustments by Monday, or are we having the same conversation again next week? Adjust or repeats? I want to see both answers down there. If you want the real breakdowns, win or lose, you know where to find them. Subscribe, hit the bell. New episodes Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And, of course, after game days. This has been Clarrkin Off Time. Stay spicy.